Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, Wise.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, W-I-Z-E. I have a very special guest. Actually, he's a friend of mine. He's been on the show. This is his second time being on the show. He's a fellow New Yorker. Welcome to the show, Jason Garcia. What's going on, brother?
My brother, what's going on? Wise, everything is good. Thank you for having me for the second time.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on.
Glad to be an alumni of the Stuck in My Mind podcast.
Well, I think last time you came on, I was just doing pre-recorded. I wasn't doing the live. Yeah, I don't think I had started doing the live. I had just been starting the last few months because I felt that was the next step for me to take the podcast I started audio, then I did video, now I'm live. So
Elevated upgrade.
It's actually exciting. I enjoy it more because I get to interact with my guests more and the audience gets involved. So having the audience involved and having them be a part of the show, I felt like that was maybe the element I was missing from it all along.
Well, I definitely see the growth. I whenever I have a chance, I do see you live with the previous guests, and I, definitely like and kind of check in, and as long as I have the availability to. And I've seen that, definitely most of the more recent interviews you've had have been live streamed, like on LinkedIn and stuff. So I definitely check in. I check in and like and, support you for sure, man. You definitely do great work and have a lot of interesting and great guests on. So
I appreciate that, brother. I greatly appreciate that, man. And like you said, LinkedIn is one of the platforms I use. It's a great platform, especially if you're trying to grow a business or whatever it is. It's because of the networking aspect of it. It's more really truly about networking. It's not like Facebook and all these other platforms where it's just more about friends and all that. This LinkedIn to me is more of a business thing, even though now it's getting a little bit spammy with all the podcasting promoters out there.
Yeah. Well, that, and then just people kind of like adding, personal views and perspectives on current events, which, everyone has their right to opinion. I just, I believe like certain platforms are there for specific reasons, but everyone is entitled, to their opinion. And the First Amendment, I respect totally, like you have the right to freedom of speech and thoughts. LinkedIn is a little bit more like tailored to like the business and networking world where, you can definitely meet more people that are like-minded when it comes to it versus like Facebook, Instagram is more kind of exactly what it is, social.
Yeah.
Yes. I just, for the record, I have no other social media platform other than LinkedIn.
And I enjoy using LinkedIn. I've made some great connections through LinkedIn. I'm actually a part of a few groups that are geared to helping me grow my brand and geared to helping me develop as an entrepreneur. So these are things that being an entrepreneur you need to do is network. Networking is key.
Absolutely. Well, you definitely network with a lot more, like I said, like-minded people than Facebook or IG. And nothing against those platforms. I think is more recreational, where LinkedIn is, you definitely could find some people that you can build with, and you can be the person that is with the smarter people in the room to help you elevate, and then you can. And I think that was part of our conversation last time, being the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Facebook, you may, nothing against Facebook again. I'm just saying, you may be the smartest person in the room, and you're not gonna grow.
Yeah, you're right.
In the conversation, unfortunately, family and friends alike, or people that you just meet. And nothing against my family.
No. Listen. I got some amazing friends on Facebook that I network, but again, I've met them through podcasting. They're podcasters or they're a part of
Yeah.
a lot of the groups that I am geared toward. Like I use them for what these things are, tools.
Yeah.
I use them to help promote the podcast, promote whatever I'm doing, or promote whatever my friends are doing. So I use it for what it really is meant to, at least for me, what it's meant to be. It's used as, and it's a tool, it's an asset to help grow your brand. So you should, as a content creator, you should be able to post everywhere: Instagram,
Absolutely.
TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitch, whatever. Because right now I'm going live to 8 different locations because you never know where someone can watch you from. So
Absolutely. No, that's listen, man. I see the growth. I'm excited for you. This is like another step up of broadening, your brand and your platform expansion. That's all business moves, man. You're making a lot of moves to keep pushing. So I see it, I admire it, I respect it. Keep doing your thing, man. I will keep supporting for sure.
appreciate it, brother. But let's talk a little bit about you, man. You from NYC, for like I said, a fellow New Yorker. You from the hood. You went into the military.
Yes.
You came back, got your degree and all that. You're an example of someone who's come from the hood and has worked hard for where to get to where he's at right now. And
Absolutely.
and right now you just started a new position. If it's okay, tell people what you do right now.
Yeah. So right now, so I want to also touch on previous,
Previous thing,
right? Yeah. All right.
because you also, 'cause you was also going into the entrepreneur field and everything. But
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody get caught up because I know you started a new position.
Yeah. So I started as the director of operations for the Spitzer School of Architecture at City College. Been here for about 2 months. Previously, I was at Columbia University for a short stint, and before that, early childhood education at a charter school in the Bronx for around like 2 years, and then before that, different fields and disciplines within operations. Overall, with 10 plus years of operation experience, from middle management to upper management. So, yeah, I've been, pushing to, start get this consulting company up and running, and I also have other endeavors that I'm working with, collaborating with some school leaders in the Bronx for a mentorship program, and we can talk more about that in a little bit. But yeah, I started at Spitzer's School of Architecture recently, and it's going well. Making my bones, which I do at positions in the past. I've learned systems, which is all operations, and yeah, and that's where we're at right now. Just a lot of good stuff going on at the college, a lot of diversity and inclusion, which I'm all for. Um, yeah, like there's the culture here at City College is very it's a good representation of the city itself, just a melting pot. So definitely glad to be part of a great team with a great leader, our dean. So yeah, it's been a interesting 2 months where I'm able to like really flex and really showcase my experience and my talent and skill sets um, without too much, pushback. So, but that's why you got to find find where you're good and a good place, and that's where I'm at right now. And yeah, operations is in my DNA. That's what I do.
All right, so you touched on it just a little while ago, the consulting business. So you also, like I said, you're also an entrepreneur. You started a consulting business. What made you want to start the business?
So I think like many other entrepreneurs and other like operation leaders that kind of like think forward during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I identified a lot of like flaws within the system, specifically in like education, and not just early childhood, but also higher education, and just overall like the consulting company was an idea of a collective. So it wasn't just me; it was a couple of my partners that was working together during the pandemic, and we was like, listen, like we can box this up, we can brand this, and it becomes a service to people that don't really understand the ins and outs of operations. And we can talk more about the operations itself, but we saw it as an opportunity. I kept moving with it with the business plan. I'm kind of like a locked in tunnel vision kind of person. Once I got my mind set on something, I'm pretty much going for it. A few bumps in the road because, of course, with having your own company, you need to, have certain licenses. You need to be able to, pay your taxes, so certain things that are still in the mix. But as far as like the foundation of it and the idea, it came through the pandemic because we just saw ourselves as operation leaders as more valuable.
You saw a need that needed to be filled. You saw something
Yes.
that a lot of people are struggling with as far as operating any project or any business or whatever. You saw a need for it.
Yeah.
And when you're able to fill that need, it's first of all, it's fulfilling because you found something, a niche that you love to do. You found the business that you love, that you see yourself being a leader, that you see it, because I'm sure being a part of the military, that kind of helped you along that journey as well, because you've come with that mindset where, all right, I'm gonna make things happen. You thought this idea up, be like, yeah, you and your team got together and it's like, all right, so let's do this, let's put this in place, because you saw that, hey, there's people out here that are lacking this management, this operations management system that would benefit them.
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned the military, because in the military there's a thing called, and for veterans and current people, currently serving service members, there's a thing called the operations order, or the acronym is called OPORD. But an operation order is pretty much the directives needed for movement of units throughout the brigade or battalion, whatever it is. It can be an executive operation order, which trickles down to what we would think as like coming from the CEO to the director of operations, or the regional director of operations to the DO operations manager, all the way down to the workers. In the military, it's an executive order, executive operation order, which is coming from like the colonel all the way down, and it trickles down, and it gets to the units, and they know their maneuver and movement and who's on their flanks. So yeah, operations was embedded in me through the military, but also as a kid too. And I think we touched on this in our last interview, that we naturally look for answers and we look to resolve things. As kids, we were, we didn't have too much resources in the sense of like, we can just Google something. We tried to figure it out. We created ramps or clubhouses or whatever. So we did all of these things, but it needed to have a plan. And that's where operations is. Operations is behind the scenes. We're dealing with all of like the logistics, all of the planning, the preparation, all of the moving pieces. And so, when I think of like operations, like the military definitely gave me a stronger foundation, but I definitely had like that DNA of operations in me as a young kid, because I always looked for a solution to a problem. Like I never came to a problem with another problem, or like came with no solution. Like, oh, I don't know. It's like I'm sitting there like trying to figure it out before I even see anything. So at least it is good, or like pros and cons of and this is where as kids you don't really know that you're brainstorming, but we all trying to figure stuff out. Like, how can I do this with not getting caught by my parents? All that, right? It's all operations, all how you approach something, how you looking at it, the totality, looking at the risks and the opportunities, the threats, and the what can go wrong and how to pivot. That's all operations. So I just want to add this thing as a funny mention from my dean, which is now my manager and supervisor. She She said, Jason, you always have a solution for every problem. I love it. And I was like, that's operations, right? Coming with solutions, coming to solve a problem, right? If there's a problem, operations is trying to figure it out, and they're looking at their resources and who they can use, what tools they have to be able to resolve this problem. You never come with a problem. Operations leaders should never come to the table with a problem. They should be coming with solutions, more than one. Let's figure it out. So
Awesome. All right, so you had mentioned something that you're working with some leaders in the Bronx. You're starting a mentorship program. What inspired you to start that mentorship program?
So two things, well, probably three, but I'm going to start with the main thing is being so, and this is kind of like touching on a few things, but one, I had a short stint at Columbia, but nevertheless, I went through the process of getting hired, and it was intense. Great opportunity, have a bunch of great references and great connections there now, but just unfortunately didn't work out. However, walking through Columbia every morning and leaving every evening, and really understanding like the capacity that I was in while at Columbia, it was like a dream, right?
Because there's not a lot of us in there, man.
Not a lot. And so I never took it for granted, never taken it for granted. But during that time, I felt like I had to pay it forward. I have to show that it is possible. Whatever happens afterwards is up to you, but like to get to those levels is possible. And so with regards to the mentorship, and to answer your question, it's one of the biggest factors I believe that our kids coming up, our generation, especially Black and brown, we need to instill a lot of confidence, right? Self-confidence, self-esteem needs to be bigger. And this is a challenge with social media, but anything is possible. I don't think it's impossible. Yeah. And my idea of this mentorship is touching on the development of the individual, which is a kid, a child where they're most vulnerable, and then touching on their passions, right? Really trying to help them gear towards where their love of work is, whatever it is, whether you love, singing, love music, love drawing, love sports, right? And helping them prepare, working with their schools. Because this is a partnership of the educational institution, because they're working on one piece of the development, which is the academics. We're looking at the other part, the emotional part, the
real part,
the personal development,
the real part. The part is because if you think about it, if we would if we would have started off with some type of mentorship growing up of professionals, of people in the business and different businesses and all that, it would be completely different, because they could tell us the whole perspective of what to expect in life and a real job and all that. Not where we were programmed to be like, you need to get a job, get an education, go to school, get your degree, go to a job, work there 30, 40 years, and retire from said job. There's no such thing now. There's no retirement. There's no pension funds. There's none of this.
Exactly. That system, that programming doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's doing more bad than good. Mm-hmm. It's just creating, again, lack of a better term, foot soldiers, or just like pay taxes, live, and die. And I think we touched on that too. That of like not being afraid to go for your passions, and not being afraid to take that risk, right? What do you have to lose? If it's something that you really enjoy, then the risk is worth it, because it's like, all right, well, You know, how they say it, if I shoot for the moon, I still land with the stars, right?
No, it's not even. It's
you can still become successful.
I had a show the other day with this young lady. She was amazing. She's a podcast host, and she only strictly does audio. And the reason she explained to me why she only does audio is because she wants to be ready. She wants it to be perfect when she does it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. I'm like, no. You're failing already. You're already messing up.
Yeah.
I'm saying by you not attempting because you want it to be perfect. I said it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Things happen. Pointing case in point with our episode, I lost some power. My power got knocked out. And so it got knocked. And so there's a big part of it where you see my logo up there and I'm not there, and you see yourself there talking, and then they're like, you notice, and then you get off. Yeah, and there's a little part of the podcast where it goes black. But what I did, the funny thing I did with that was I edited, but I put like this little thing where it went technical difficulties and all that at the time. Yeah. And so when the show came out, I still had the clip there, but but that was fun for me.
Yeah, that was like that was a variable, and you made it work. It was cool. I had like the old school Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo vibe when it
you saw it.
I felt like it was part. Like you resolved the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Which was just that gap of time that we lost connection.
Yeah.
But then you also a part of you, which in the part of our culture of like growing up playing video games, you incorporated it in the resolve. So it was pretty cool to see that. I never got to compliment you on that either, but it was cool. Quick thinking, like you made it happen, and it came out good. But like you were saying, like it's never gonna be perfect. You just gotta
go out and do it. And the crazy thing about it, right, was I've been talking to someone about I've been wanting to go into coaching for the longest, and that episode, doing that show with her, just kind of just sealed it for me. It made me realize that that's the way. That's the next evolution of Wise. Is going into coaching and helping people, whatever field I decide to go into. Yeah. And so to do episodes like that to me is so much fun because I'm learning. And then I'm helping her out as well. And then so hopefully somebody's watching the episode and they're like, oh man, this is a good episode. They both got something from it. Oh, maybe I'm learning something. So it was just to me, that was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, no, and because you tapped into another part of you that there's another passion. And that's it. Like that's like in the military, we like to call it, that's your next mountaintop, right? See you at the top. Because now you found something that, now you're challenging yourself. Like this is my next, big feat to take on. So that's awesome. And coaching, goes hand in hand in mentorship. So
yes, yeah. And that's eventually that's what it's going to lead to is helping doing some mentorship programs and all that. Because again, you have to give back to the community. You have to give back to the youth. Yes. And for me, that's a no-brainer. It is to get into that realm as well, is to go speak to kids and help educate them and mentor them, because they need to see us that, hey, listen, we don't necessarily have to be a celebrity or a rapper or anything to get into this field or get into something that's beneficial, that's going to help them in the future.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's where, like, again, like the mentorship was like the idea came from just being able to, like, we all measure success differently. But like given my circumstances and like my background and like yours, we come from like, inner city, very, very impoverished neighborhoods. Yeah. Like that's for a fact. Like I remember the tough upcoming, you remember the tough upcoming and yeah, like those that know, especially that know me from my neighborhood, those that know, like it wasn't easy. But so with having this success, and I measure success based on some accolades, but I'm also measuring it like I'm 38 years old.
You make it sound like that's old, man. You still young,
No,
but
that's what I'm saying.
You got a few years to catch up to me.
That's
Man.
exactly. See, you got it. That's exactly. I'm 38 years old, but where I come from,
No, a lot of us,
we made it.
a lot of us didn't see 21. A
That's
lot of people I know did not see 21. A lot of
so
no, it's
for
a blessing. It's a blessing for us to reach this age, to actually start seeing grays on our beards and stuff like that, man.
I would never think. That's why, so as for us, we've almost we would normalized it, where it was like, oh, making it to 18, 21 was a celebration.
Success, yes, it was.
More of a survival milestone than it was a birthday.
Yeah.
So history is kind of repeating itself, and it's becoming more vicious because now you have different components, different variables of with recording people going through stuff, more influence in a different genre of music that is terrorizing our neighborhood.
Because it's now getting to the point where, especially in the hip hop culture, where a lot of people are putting it. They're valuing more the money aspect of it all, and not the culture of it all. They're relating success with having all this money, being able to ball and all that, when it has nothing to truly do with that, man. It has to. And for me, success is not having all this money, because regardless, even if you have all this money, you still have problems. It's more money, more problems.
Yep.
And so for me, the success is being able to impact someone's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to touch one person's life. If I'm able to do that with each episode, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That to me is success. That speaks volumes, because you've touched someone's life and you're gonna be with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's gonna, your words, it's gonna resonate. It's gonna resonate with them. It's gonna help answer questions. Sometimes just listening and understanding that, for one, you're not the only one. We're we look at our struggles from of course a personal lens, but there's so many more people out there going through a lot more.
Yeah, right? Everybody has their story. Everybody has their struggle. Everybody has their story. My story isn't bigger than anybody else's, but it's my story. Yep. It's helped what's molded me into the man that I am today. Like, with everything that's gone on in my life, all the struggles, all the loss that I've suffered, someone was like, do you regret going through what you went through? And my answer was no, because I wouldn't wish a lot of the things that happened to me on anyone. Yeah. But it's what molded me into who I am now, and it's what's helping me grow. It's what drives me to want to continue to learn and grow. And so, no, I don't regret what's happened in my life. It was meant to be. But would I wish it on anyone? Absolutely not.
That's it. And that's where the coaching and mentorship, you being the perfect person to be that messenger and use your own experience as, look how successful you, and this is, again, we measure success differently.
Yeah.
But some, our people are starting to especially the kids, they feel hopeless. And not all. Some kids are going to be great. They're going to be in better positions. But for those that are not, we need to catch them before they slip through the cracks. So, So I can't wait to get the mentorship, working with the school leaders that I'm working with in the Bronx, because I'm definitely going to call you up to come over and speak to the kids. We can collab and work something out where you can come over and you can show, listen. You can give them.
I can give them. I can show them how to start their own podcast, man. And And
That's what I'm saying. That was part of the thing I was saying. Like emotional, financial literacy, STEM. There's a list of things
there's
that
different things that
mentorship is going to provide.
yeah, listen, I'm you can
That's
this is
awesome.
video, this right here, this is proof right here. This is evidence.
That's
Yes, I have volunteered. If Jason calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to come down and speak to these kids," I am there.
That's it.
So
Man.
so I am a man of my word. So whoever's watching this and everybody who sees the video later on,
That's it.
know that I have agreed to be a part of this mentorship program because you have to give back.
Absolutely, man.
There's no doubt you have to give back and help kids out and help grow your community and help them find avenues to get out that don't detail that you don't necessarily just have to play sports or do music or do movies or whatever. There's other things out there you can do.
Absolutely, and that's where, like, you know, and no, like it's gonna be tough. You know, like it's gonna suck. Like I remember, like, you know, being a kid and be like, damn, man, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, and then to think now as grown, wise man, you know, we like that doesn't fulfill happiness, that whole of happiness, right? All of that.
But that's what they have you to believe. If you have the more stuff you have, the happier you're supposed to be. That's not true. It's not true because it's the little things in life that you need to appreciate.
Yeah.
So it's not the most stuff. It's not the one who has the most stuff. Because look at some of these celebrities and famous people who have committed suicide.
Yeah. That's because thing too. I was going to touch on too. That's going to be incorporated. Mental health for the kids,
because it's something that we're not taught, especially men from Black and Brown. We're taught that, oh, we need to be strong. You can't show your feelings, you can't show your emotions, whatever it is. But what we forget that is that we're human. We're just like everyone else. We bleed, we suffer, we have our days where we're depressed, where we're down. So it's been ingrained in us that we shouldn't seek help, when it's the complete opposite. You find yourself a counselor to speak to so you can let some of that out. Find yourself a mentor or a coach, someone you can talk to, and you don't. One of the reasons we don't speak to people we know is because we don't want to be judged by them.
Yeah.
See, we don't want to be judged like, oh man, because especially in Black and Brown, they're like, oh, you're crazy. You're seeing a psychiatrist. You're seeing a what? You're crazy. Oh man, I can't mess with you. They start labeling you and they start putting a stigmatism on you that just because you're speaking to someone for your mental well-being, that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. No, it was that's a whole fact. Like that's where like that stigma has to like stop. Like I started getting like more in tuned into like letting go of things when like around when my son was born, my first son. I was like, yeah, I can't hold on to certain baggage. That's what I called it. Like whether it was like, you know, disagreement that I had with somebody in the neighborhood, like back, you know, when I was younger, like, because I'm not gonna lie, I definitely held grudges when I was younger. You know, like if it was on, it was on until it wasn't, you know, like whatever that meant. But I was definitely ready to go out every day and fight the same person every day because that's the way I was raised. But on the flip side, I didn't even want to do that. Like I didn't want to do it. Like, you know, after a while, I was like, yo, all right, you got the L. I mean, or you got the W, or I got the L, whatever. But, you know, growing up, it was like, no, you're gonna keep on fighting them. You're gonna keep on letting, you know, you can't let no one continue. So I grew up with that mentality, and then once I got older, I'm like, I'm not gonna, you know, have my son inherit that kind of mindset. You know, you can defend yourself, but you're also gonna be able to say, listen, like, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna go down this path. Like that's why I told I always tell my kids, I'm working hard to make sure. And this is like cliche. Like everyone, like you work hard to give them a better life, but I want to give them a better life with values, not just give them everything that I didn't have. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I was trying to do. But, you know, like kind of going back to what you were saying of just like, like being able to express yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with saying, listen, man, like this, I'm messed up, like, but you have to, make sure that who you confine in, you can trust. And in the past, if you've confided in the wrong person and they broke that trust, it's hard to trust again, right? Especially with things that you feel like you said are people going to pass judgment or judge you for.
That's why you seek someone that you don't know.
Yeah,
you,
not
you,
biased.
you go find that therapist or somebody or whoever it is, and and you speak to them, man. This to me it was seeking help was the best thing I could have done for myself. I don't know where I would have been at had I not sought the help that I needed. And so, from to me, I preach it all the time, man. When I'm on the show, talking about mental health, talking about if you need help, if you want to send me a message, and if you want to send me a message with what you're going through, I'm more than happy to read it, and I will reply to it. To me, it's giving back. It's definitely giving people an opportunity to express themselves because they might not feel comfortable expressing themselves to someone they know. Again,
Yeah.
so
And
one of the reasons I started doing it live is because you get people like my man Tony, who's been popping up all these past few episodes. I appreciate the love, Tony, man. And they come in, they leave comments. They say every day we got to find a way to find a way, which is true. Every day we have to find the way to find, and that's we just continue going. They put this up. Failure is the first step of success, and it is. You have to learn from your mistakes. That's the only way you're gonna grow. So if you wait until like, oh, I'm gonna wait till I'm ready, you're never gonna be ready. Because how do you truly know you're capable of doing it if you're not attempting to do it?
yeah, now is the perfect time.
Yeah,
That's it. Now is the perfect time.
yeah. If you haven't started yet, start right now.
That's a whole fact. That is that's the first. That is the first big step of just listen, just start. Fail or succeed, you won't know, but just go in there knowing that you started and you're taking one step forward. Like that's and that's the message that we need to get to the kids that feel like there's no way out, that this is their only avenue, like the streets, because it's wicked. The streets is they're eating our kids up all across the nation, all across the world, but definitely across the U.S. And being from where we come from and having that, having like a piece of the neighborhood and in us and wanting to give back, like that's the least we could do is try to like create something that helps direct the kids in the way that we didn't have those to direct us. I had a lot of people that were like, oh, Jason, you keep playing baseball, you're gonna be good, or you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that, and young and stubborn, but there was no substance. There was just words. But like with this mentorship, actually showing, like like if we got to make house calls, we're gonna be like, listen, mom, dad, like we're with the after school program, the mentorship, we're not trying to like, because we're not trying to like look for anything. We're trying to direct and redirect rather the kids, the youth, especially like our young black and brown, boys and girls. Like we need to be more proactive in the process of their development and not just sit back and be a spectator and say, oh damn, you see what happened? You see this? Like,
because you think about it,
more proactive,
if you think about it, all they think is that they need to either dribble a ball, shoot a ball, whatever, pass a ball, or be able to sing or act to be able to be successful, and that's far from the truth, man. There's a lot of people a lot of people of black and brown that are killing it on the business side of it. They don't just do sports. They don't do just. They're just not here to entertain.
Yeah.
And that's what sometimes I feel like is that they think that only way we can succeed is as entertainers, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. We're here to we have some great educators. We have some great business minds. We have people out there doing some amazing things that are not just celebrities.
Yeah, that's a fact. So working where I work now, which is this is one of the most highly decorated architect schools in New York. Of course, next to like Columbia, they have an architect department, but like we're one of the most decorated, and the diversity here is amazing. Like there's some amazing Spanish and Black and South American, Asian architects here, future architects. So that's another avenue, right? No one thinks architect, and I find architecture to be something that I'm starting to respect and love because it's the behind the scenes. I love the behind the scenes. That's what operations is. Operations is essentially all the staging and everything. And so I say that to say that, you know, I could have been a baseball player, yes, absolutely, and more likely, you know, a really good one, humbly bragging. But it was definitely there in the cards. Unfortunately, the path didn't work out, but I found something else that is just equally that I love, which is operations.
Yeah,
And it's a profession that is very broad, you know, in the sense that every business, company, organization, institution has an operations department, has an operations leader, so you can make a honest, good living, and grow from it as well. So I guess my point is like there's more, like you were saying, there's more than just what the cliche of like, if you're this color, you can shoot a basketball. If you're this color, you can, hit a baseball. If you look like this, then you can be a model, right? Or if you try to look into entertaining rather than.
and there's nothing wrong. Listen, there's nothing wrong with those.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. But we just need to let it be known that there are other lanes for us. These are not the only lanes that are meant for us. There's lanes. If you want to go into politics, go into politics. If you want to go into media, then fine. But find what lane makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's one of the keys, is being able to find your lane and find what makes you happy.
Find that passion. Find that walk in your purpose. And listen, a lot of us don't have that privilege and being able to identify sooner. But like again, having this mentorship part of the agenda, and I'll send you like the layout after the meeting that I have with the school leader tomorrow.
Awesome.
And
yeah, definitely.
See identified, because this is all we're talking about. It's exactly what we're going to touch on, because finding a passion and purpose is, we kind of like inherit a lot of things, right? Like by default, baseball was something that I inherited, Puerto Rican. My dad played baseball.
Yeah, my same thing with me. My dad played baseball. My brothers played baseball. Yeah. I played baseball through high school and everything. But
it wasn't. But
I still loved. I loved it.
Yeah,
they didn't, my parents, my mom and dad, they didn't force it upon me. But seeing my brothers and them play, I love to play the sport. Like I love football, right? But my first true love is baseball.
Yeah,
it's just it's in our blood. It's in our DNA. Yeah. And so, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to be. I knew, and I love, and I just, and it wasn't that I wasn't good. I could ball, but it was just that I wasn't dedicated like someone else. There was other people that were much more dedicated. And to me, I just enjoyed playing the sport, but I didn't love it enough to where I wanted it to be my career. Because if that was the case, then I would have been a baseball player. But for me, I knew I didn't have the dedication to play baseball, because I just loved it. I just loved to play it. I didn't see myself playing it to get paid. Yeah, I just loved playing ball.
I saw myself in Yankee Stadium. I was definitely like envisioning and like reenacting Andy Pettit, like whatever, like pitching. Like I was definitely locked in on it. But then at a certain age,
the streets are calling, man.
The cracks, man.
It's,
fell through the cracks in
you
the
get to a
street.
certain age, girls start calling, streets start calling, hanging out, and all that, and you lose
Yeah,
that focus. And so, but there was again, there's people that they keep that focus and they find out that's what they want to do.
yeah,
For me, I love the sport, but I wasn't dedicated to it.
yeah,
So, but that's what you have to do. You have to be when you find something. That's why you like, yo, you like. I always see you recording and grind because I'm dedicated to it.
yeah.
I love
Respect,
what I'm doing.
respect it for
Yeah,
sure.
I love
That's
what
a
I'm
great
doing, so
example.
that's why I keep doing
Yeah, you definitely go in. You like listen, and that's that passion. But like a lot of kids, they don't know like there's an avenue for every one of us. We just
it.
have to
Yeah,
find
yo, there's a
where
lane for all of us. There's a
we
lane. We
do
just
it.
got to find our lane.
Yeah, that's where like again going into like this mentorship. This is gonna be like I want that to be like my legacy of what I leave behind. You know, so because self awareness and self love is
Yeah,
starts with you
yeah.
absolutely, Tony.
That, and this
And
is and this is bro. This is why I love doing
yeah,
this, man. He's dropping some things, man. Thank you. I appreciate you too, Tony. I appreciate you coming in and sharing that. He goes, I'm 50, 57 and starting. Like it's never too late to start. You're never too old to start, man. You can start today. That's what it takes. Is start if you find something that you love to do and you've been afraid to do it, start today.
yeah, just do it.
Make it happen now.
That's it. That's where like kind of like segueing into like the world of operations. Like that's what it's all about. Like operations, you have to make decisions. You have to. You cannot. You know, sit on your hands. There's too many people depending on you. There's too many stakeholders that are expecting you to deliver. Then and there's a bunch of resources there waiting for you, waiting to be used.
Yeah,
It's just how you use it, how you're able to navigate situations. And yeah, a lot of kids are doing that mindset that has helped me navigate a career in operations. Kids are doing that walking to school. So if we're able to redirect them, to keep a mindset that they of that grit, the grind, the dedication, the commitment, right? You got kids that know they're gonna get, you know, bullied, unfortunately,
yeah,
in school, and they still go. That's courageous. That's listen. Some people will crawl up and tap out. You know, like these kids need to know, and coming from us, you know that listen, you're gonna be all right. A lot of these kids will be fine if they have the right direction. If they have the right direction, and their mindset is already, and not because I'm an operation leader, but they're already thinking operational. They're already
yeah,
thinking like, all right, how do I get around this obstacle? How can I get from A to B? They're already doing operations every
yeah,
day. So why not show them that they're successful already in their own right of being able to think as a leader
yeah.
and develop that. That's
So,
where we build from.
so
So
Tony goes. Imagine if everyone just talked like you two are doing right now. Priceless. Appreciate that, Tony, man. Definitely, definitely.
yeah,
And he
build it.
goes, we all can learn something from everyone if we're humbled and listening to others, other avenues, as we could move mountaintop to mountaintop, as Jay had mentioned earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, iron does sharpen iron, man. That's the only way you're gonna improve, is by sharpening that iron. Definitely.
And a lot of these little kids, as we were once, and had to navigate certain situations in a different generation and an era, they're tough as iron.
Yeah,
These kids like they're the future. We're it's our responsibility and obligation to develop them.
yep.
Right? Shame on us if we don't.
So one of his favorite quotes is, "You can't be great to start. You must start to be great." Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Is
Absolutely.
you can't expect that. And I didn't expect, like when I first started, I didn't expect to be good. Like I didn't even know I had a voice. I didn't know I was gonna love it the way I do. But the only way I improve is by me continuously doing it. That's why when you say you go hard at, is because with each episode I'm improving. Every time I get behind this mic, I'm learning something new or I feel I gain more confidence. With each episode, it's me growing as a person, it's me growing as a podcaster, it's me growing as a content creator because I just want to improve every single time.
Yeah, no, and you have it, and you get the opportunity for everyone else to be able to improve. Because listen, the first meeting that were interview or conversation we had, I looked at it. Of course, I'm looking at myself and like and seeing like, okay, like how am I, displaying, of what I want to, you know, speak about, how I'm delivering, and this is all like, it's
Yeah, but
not looking for
you
perfection.
can't be too hard on yourself because you don't do this for a living. You don't speak for a living.
Yeah,
You don't do the podcasting guest thing
but,
for a living. Only way you're gonna
but
improve is by you come on more podcasts.
and this is the second time I've ever done a podcast.
Podcasts, yeah.
So it's I'm like a stuck in my mind alumni, right? And but it also is like this is the first step. So kind of like what Tony was saying, like you have to just start to be great. You can't start great. You have to just start.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to share a message and share what I'm diving into. And thank you for like allowing me the platform, and also for the collaboration that we're gonna do, because I know we're gonna do great work because we mean well, because we understand exactly what they're going through.
And
Like,
brother,
if there's a kid go ahead.
like I said, man, count me in. I'm in.
Yeah.
There's no question that I'm down and I'm willing to collaborate with you and do that because we have to give back, man. We have to make sure we give back and we help and the only way we're going to be rewarded is by servicing others. So being able to help other people, uplift them, it's only going to lift us up, especially as far as fulfilling yourself inside, like being able to feel good about yourself. Hey, like, listen, I feel great, and not do it for clout. Like being able to be a mentor to someone and help someone. To me, the part that I'm able to uplift them and help them is one of the most fulfilling parts about it for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like we're doing that kind of work is tough work, because some individuals, both kids and adults alike, have very very thick walls between a lot of what we're trying to reach to show them, like, look how great you are. um you know s- speaking certain things into existence, and helping them you know maintain their inner voice. And I think I know we touched on this last time in our last
Yeah,
conversation, of speaking to yourself in the right context, in the right
the right way.
the
You
right
have to be real nice to yourself, man. You have to, like one of the things I posted before was, we say real horrible things to ourselves. We say
yeah,
some real nasty
yeah.
things to ourselves,
We're
and we don't
silently our
real.
own worst critics.
Yeah, we like some of us talk really harsh to ourselves. Like you don't show yourself no kind of love, and what that really does to you is really defeats you. It beats you up, man. When especially when it's coming from yourself. Like
Yeah, that,
imagine if you just would say positive, nice things to yourself every morning that you woke up. How would that would make you feel? I know I feel great when I do it.
yeah,
When I talk to myself and say, "Boy, you are great.
yeah.
You magnificent. I love you."
Or in the morning, like, let's have a powerful day, or
Yeah.
let's like what's on the agenda. Let's if we're not one of these down, we're good. And definitely that is a fact, because that the subconscious is going to absorb all of that negative talk, and is going to
Yep.
start planting like bad seeds in your head, and then that comes in the shape of doubt and self-hatred and stuff. And kind of going back to what Tony had put out there, self-awareness and self-love is important, like
Tony,
that's huge.
Tony's dropping some gems
Yeah,
in
for
the
real,
chat, man.
man.
He going when you align with your inner joy and peace, your passion will bring you abundance. Absolutely,
Yo,
absolutely, man. And Tony, I'm straight up, man. If you want me to help you, let me know. Reach out to me. Send me an email. You can reach me at our realwiseproductions at gmail.com. Just shoot me an email about when you want to link up. So I'm serious, brother. If you really want me to help you with that audio issue and all that, just hit me up.
Yeah, man. That's love, man. That's what I'm saying. It's all like building. That's what the motto is. Building. You know, we've done enough destroying already. You know, like our generation, and you know, and we can't take responsibility for the entire generation,
Yeah.
but we can take responsibility of correcting whatever was done wrong. You know, like and again, I wasn't no saint. I played a role in
We listen.
a lot of bad
It's the
decisions.
past. It's the past.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
saying we don't dwell on that because where we come from, we had to do what we had to do to survive. That's point
yeah,
blank. I'm
that's
saying
all.
I'm not proud of some of the things that I had to do in my life, but I don't brag about it either. I don't boast about it either. So it's just things that we had to do
That's
to survive, and we move on. We don't dwell on that. That was the past. We leave that back there.
right.
That's just who we used to be. That is not who we are now. And that's one of the things that we need to start realizing, especially our brothers and sisters who've been
Yeah,
incarcerated. We need to let them know that, hey, what you did in the past is back there. That's not who you are.
yeah. You
You
gotta start
served your
with
time.
people.
And my nephew's a prime example of that. He served his time and he refused to go back to that life. He's
Right,
got his own business now. He's got his
right.
own
That's
LLC. He's changed his life around. He's a magnificent dad. But he decided, like, yo, nah, I'm not going back to that life. That's not me.
yeah. That's the
And
piece. Yeah,
we him have a great show that we do together. And so it's to me, it's I'm blessed to be able to learn from him and see him succeed and do some great things because it's he's come a long way.
yeah,
Saying
yeah.
he's done what he's did, but that doesn't make him a bad person. He did what he did in his life, served his time. Now he's a political community, working, raising his son. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what about building up, and you know, like that's an amazing story, man. Shout out to your nephew. That's amazing. Like that. Listen, that's a big opportunity, and you know, to be able to transform and say, listen, like this is who I am moving forward, and like that's admirable, and definitely, man. Shout out to him. 'Cause that's
But brother, now it's that time where you get to be a plug away. Let them know where they can find you, all your links, LinkedIn, everything, email, whatever.
well, Jason Garcia on LinkedIn. You know, feel free to reach out to me. Email JYM as in Mary Garcia 1985 at gmail.com. A lot of great stuff going on. I'm going to be starting this consulting company, but also collaborating with some great school leaders in the Bronx. And yeah, a lot of great stuff. And I'm all over LinkedIn. And Wise, again, thank you for having me. Appreciate you. Yeah, man.
Well, listen, as soon as you get done with that meeting, hit me up. Let me know what we got to do to get this going, and I definitely would love to be a part of it and to help you get it going, and whatever I can do to help, man, just let me know.
Absolutely, definitely. We're gonna link up. I got your information, so we're definitely gonna link up, and I'll get you updated to like what's going on, and yeah, it's gonna be some great work, man.
Yeah, don't leave just yet though. We're gonna chat a little bit after. All
All right,
right, hold on. All right, so thank you to my man Jason Garcia for coming through. Always a pleasure having him. So now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Tony, thank you for the gems you were dropping today, brother. Greatly appreciate that, man. You came through as always. Facebook user, I don't know if it's Obimi or whoever, one of my regulars, Tony, whatever. I know it's one of you guys that regularly definitely come through and share some love. I appreciate that. Big shout out to my nephew Bobby J, my partner Brandy J. What's going on? Real Wise fam. Big shout out to my boss lady Fina. Love you and appreciate you, baby. Big shout out to our guest Jason Garcia for definitely coming through and us having a real conversation, man. This is what it's all about, to be able to network with a fellow New Yorker, our brother, and to really help just change the narrative that we can't work together. Saying these are two brothers that we're gonna get together and we're gonna do some amazing things. So I'm definitely looking forward to what the future holds for both of us. And big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know, the boy Wise does it. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at @wise_b_blunt, Instagram at @wise_b_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/wise76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.